65 recently like me, it's important you find a Medicare Advantage plan that gives you the coverage you're looking for. But finding one can be difficult. The best thing I did, and I suggest you do the same, is call a licensed insurance agent and let them walk you through your Medicare Advantage plan options. There are so many benefits you have access to, so make the call now and let the representatives explain everything to you. Our licensed insurance agents can offer you a variety of Medicare Advantage plans. Plus, the call is free, the information is free, and there's no obligation to enroll. We're here to make it easy for you to select a Medicare Advantage plan that may work for your needs. Finding a Medicare Advantage plan can be easy if you do what I did. Make a quick call right now to learn more. Thank you.
800-439-7851. 800-439-7851. 800-439-7851. That's 800-439-7851.
News Talk STL. This hour of the Allman Report brought to you by STL Fenceworks, celebrating 50 years of industry-leading service for fence, deck, and leisure space solutions. Visit stlfenceworks.com.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and happy Wednesday to all of you and yours. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Yes, indeed, the Three Martini Lunch. It's Common Sense Radio. Jamie Allman here with you, Ashton over there. And, oh, my goodness, I want to talk about so many of the wonderful positive things from last night. I mean, it was an absolute dream. It was the best State of the Union ever, atmospherically and everything else. But my goodness, how could you take your eye off the Fainting Goat Festival among the Democrat Party? My goodness gracious, I'm trying to figure out all the analogies that I can come up with, because I do want to talk about this major victory and President Trump and everything that's going on, but I can't stop looking at the fire in the dumpster that is the Democrat Party. My goodness gracious, could you take a bigger poop on the national stage that the Democrat Party did? It was unbelievable. It's kind of like, you know, when we are, let's say we're going down to Florida, we're headed to a beach vacation, and we're all singing in the car, we're playing the license plate game, we're doing all this kind of stuff, and we're headed to the beach. It's all going to be great, but you see a burning semi on the side of the road, and you're like, I got to look at that. I got to look at that. I'm going to take my eye off of the frivolity and fun, and I got to watch and see what's happening with that burning 18-wheeler on the side of the road. Oh, my goodness gracious. They could do nothing right last night, and it was absolutely a total trap for them, which was great. And then their other little event where they had people dressed up as frogs and Joy Reid singing Al Green. It's like, what is going on here? Before I get to that, though, I'll just take it from CBS News. Okay, I mean, I'm not going to go with some right-wing broadcaster or whatever you want to do. I'll go to CBS News and Major Garrett. Check it out.
We have Major here at the table. I want to bring the conversation back here to our group watching along. Major, you've seen a lot of these, I think, more than any of us. What stood out to you?
Well, look, before the speech, many Republicans said one of the priorities for the president was to make sure Americans after this speech had a sense that the opposition party was off the rails, was crazy, their terminology, not mine. Many of the contrasts the president articulated tonight were to drive that message forward. That not only do I disagree with the opposition party sitting before me in Congress, but I disagree with them so strongly and they with me so much that they can't even applaud basic common sense thing. And that line that you mentioned, that he added to the speech, whether it was ad-libbed or not, the first obligation, American citizens versus illegal aliens, was meant to create a visual moment of perpetual contrast.
And indeed it was. It was a huge moment of contrast. America saw exactly what the makeup of the Democrat Party is and all that they do. And, of course, Caroline Leavitt was able to put out an entire list of all of the things that the Democrat Party sat on their butts for. Putting American citizens over illegal aliens, voter ID laws, the murder rate lowest since 1900, keeping violent criminals locked up, protecting parental rights, stopping fraud, angel families, price transparency, taking on drug cartels, no tax on tips, overtime and Social Security, the most secure border in history. I mean, could this have gone any worse for the Democrat Party? And then what you have is you have President Trump, who has the Angel Moms and War Heroes and the USA hockey team, and the Democrats at their separate little festival have a MS-13 gang member and wife beater, an illegal alien on stage. I mean, who's planning their events, for crying out loud? Jim Talent. Yes, sir. So glad to have you on. I'm sure you were watching with a great deal of interest, my friend. And so, man, that was really nuts. And again, there are so many positive things. I don't mean to dwell on the negative, but you can't avoid looking at the grotesqueness of the Democrat Party. And it was self-inflicted, for crying out loud.
Jamie, I really could not agree more. So let me preface this by saying that the State of the Union address is the president's night. And if you're in the opposition party, and I was for at least 8 years of my service, I should know, 8 years, you need to go quietly in moments where the president says things that are designed to and do appeal to all Americans. You applaud. You stand when people are standing. At minimum, you applaud, right? In a sense, you take the L, because if you don't, you just make it vastly worse. And in essence, you walk into a trap when you do that, much less, when you give your response. And I don't think either party or any politician's ever given a response that really won the day. But you can minimize the defeat. And we're talking about the politics of this now, and you're right, we ought to talk about the achievements. In fact, let me do that.
Okay.
Because I was taking notes. I think the president wanted to do two things last night. One was to go over everything that his administration has achieved, in essence, in his first year. And I thought he did an outstanding job of that. I really liked that he mentioned how much crime has gone down in these cities where he sent in the National Guard. That's very meaningful to Americans. I liked it very much when the way he handled immigration, the way he dealt the bulk of the speech. And I got up this morning and read the transcript. I always find that's very, very helpful. The bulk of the speech is on economics, and that was a deliberate decision. And he went through the list of things you mentioned, them, the tax on tips, jobs up, food stamps at the lowest rate. He talked about the tax cut and compared it with the way the Democrats increased taxes. I mean, he hit so many good points. He talked about the prices that are down. I mean, I know. Look, I shop too, and I know that we want prices to go down further. And then he hit on what he's done with drug pricing, which I think is an under discussed topic. So the point is, he wanted to remind people about everything that he's accomplished and that the administration has accomplished, and then he wanted to contrast that with the Democrats. And the Democrats walked into it. They just walked into it, and they've given the president and Republicans a lot of material over the last 6 months when they've been playing to their base, and tonight they added to it. So yeah, I mean, I really agree with everything that you said. I thought the closing was. I watched that carefully. I thought the closing was very good, and also, Jamie, a political leader needs to know his strengths and weaknesses. And one of Trump's greatest strengths is that he knows the areas where he's not as strong. Okay, so he's not going to get up and give the Gettysburg Address. He's not Winston Churchill.
Yeah.
But he did want to inspire people, and so he used normal, heroic Americans to inspire people, you see? In other words, he didn't use his eloquence, although at the end in particular, I think he was eloquent. He used what Americans have done, in support of their country and other Americans. And I tried to keep a list of all those. You lose track, and that's because we have so many heroes in this country. And so, yeah, I thought it was a great speech, and I don't want to say sympathize, but I can empathize with the Democrats, because if the president does it right, you're going to take a beating, and you want to do something about it. But you're better off not. Just let it go. And they didn't. And you're right about the party they had. I mean, that was a complete unforced error.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, did you see the guy in the giraffe suit?
Oh, yeah. And the frogs? It was just really unbelievable to watch these people do this. Here, watch. Listen to this. This is somebody just.
I'm a mother. I'm a physician, and I have a flag.
Frog gave her a flag.
And I am the proud representative for Oregon's 3rd Congressional District. Yes, thank you. Thank you. And tonight, I defy Trump and his authoritarian project by standing in joyful, radical, peaceful resistance with the Portland Frog Brigade.
Yeah, I mean, this is just unbelievable.
And to be fair, I only watch clips of it, so I don't know the context. I was not going to sit and watch all that.
No.
But I mean, it's as said again. There's now the president can screw it up. I mean, he can hurt himself. Trump did not. I think Trump hit a home run last night. But that's what you got to hope if you're in the opposition, that the president, that he won't take advantage of the opportunity, or that he'll say something or do something that gives you an opening. Other than that, Jamie, you just go quietly.
Yeah.
And you go out and you do your press afterwards, and you talk about the areas where you disagree with the president. You try and get some points in, and then you move on.
Yeah. Well, and you mentioned the word eloquence, and it's so interesting how President Trump has even redefined what eloquence is. Like, for instance, we used to think that, it's Reagan-esque or it's Churchillian or what have you. And President Trump has magically managed to redefine what eloquence is, because eloquence is usually in the ear of the beholder. And most Americans, they don't need your shoes polished, or they don't need any of this. They need to be talked to plainly. And so we've managed to redefine what true eloquence is, and maybe that's what it is, as opposed to something magical and rolling your R's. You know what I mean?
Right, but you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Trump, he's not going to try to do that. I mean, he can do it. There are some, and I'm just thinking of my own experience. There's a lot of different kinds of remarks or speeches that you're called on to give as a politician, and some of them you're better at than others. You got to get to the point where you can do all of them to some degree. We just saw what happened to AOC when she couldn't even answer a question, right? I mean, you got to do reasonably well, but if you're smart, you think about where you're strong, and you sort of channel the moment or the event into that. And that's what the president did. He genuinely, I think I've said this to you before, Jamie, presidents, and we tend to get really cynical about it, and I get it, but they all have a few things that on a personal level they really value and care about. And it is so clear from Trump's presidency and his career that the quote-unquote normal American who's going out every day, working, making a living, helping his family, Trump values those people. I mean, I've been rereading The Art of the Deal. It's, he was climbing around construction projects with his father when he was a boy, meeting and talking to people. And so he oriented the night and the inspirational moments of the night, not around what he had done, although the president is perfectly capable of telling us what he's done, but it was about what these people have done, or in some cases, what they've suffered and overcome, like that little girl.
Oh, yeah.
I can't pronounce her name very well, but the more I thought about it afterwards, the more I saw the plan behind it, and he closed very eloquently. I watched that several times. He did it Trump's way. I mean, he read it, but he read it slowly, and it was clear he was focusing on it, that it wasn't just throwaway lines.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
I mean, it was it was a good night. I imagine my friends in the Republican Party in the Congress are very pleased at that. I haven't seen a lot of comments.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
but I'm sure they were.
And this, it's a really great boost, even though we're far away from the midterms. I will have to say, in all honesty, I kind of realized that I'm only human, and I can be hypocritical. So I realized when President Trump was dressing down the U.S. Supreme Court in the speech, I realized, I remember when Obama did that, and I was really mad. and because it kind of broke a little bit with decorum. But I want to get your thoughts on it. But listen to what President Trump had to say to the Supreme Court.
Already made, right, Scott? Knowing that the legal power that I, as president, have to make a new deal could be far worse for them, and therefore they will continue to work along the same successful path that we had negotiated before the Supreme Court's unfortunate involvement. So despite the disappointing ruling, these powerful, country-saving, it's saving our country, the kind of money we're taking in, peace-protecting. Many of the wars I settled was because of the threat of tariffs. I wouldn't have been able to settle them without. Will remain in place under fully approved and tested alternatives.
So the look on Robert's face and Amy Coney Barrett's face was pretty stony. And I think it's okay to do that. I know that we kind of picked on Obama when he did it after the Citizens United decision a long time ago. But now I'm thinking it's okay, and I admit that that's kind of hypocritical of me. But maybe the criticism of Obama wasn't so deserved.
Jamie, I thought it was very appropriate. Now I'll have to go back. I don't think it broke decorum. I'll have to go back and look at what Obama said.
Yeah,
I mean, it's been a while, and I didn't focus too much on that. Anyway.
Well, Obama was a little more scolding. You know how he always acted, so it was a little more direct scolding. But President Trump, of course, was gently scolding, and I thought that was okay.
He looked at them and he said, it was, and then he paused. Disappointing.
Yeah.
Well, he was disappointed.
Yeah.
And then he pointed out the practical effects of what the court decided. Now, what the court would say and what their defenders will say is their job. And this is true. I mean, their job is to interpret the Constitution and the laws. I mean, the practical effects, they take it into account in appropriate situations, but they leave that to the political branches. No, I did not think that he struck the wrong tone or showed disrespect. I mean, he disappointed, but then he went on to say, we're going to go back and do it another way, which, by the way, you and I have not talked about the tariffs. I really believe he can.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, from the beginning, the president has enormous authority over tariffs. I don't know if you want to go down this rabbit hole, but I mean, the issue was he wanted to do it quickly, and to do it quickly, he had to do it under a particular law, which is, I mean, there is a question. It's a real live question. The court's decision was not unreasonable. Let's put it that way. But what he can now do is go back and take advantage of other authorities that require investigations and findings before he can do basically what he's already done. And that's what he was saying. He can go ahead and reestablish that. So I thought that was, I did not think that was askew. And I'm pretty sensitive to that sort of thing. He kind of looked at him, and if I was Roberts, I think I'd have smiled a little bit. I'd say, well, Mr. President, you're on your end of Pennsylvania Avenue, and we're on the other end, and we each have to do our jobs as well as we can, right? I mean, that's basically where that was. Now, I did not hear a sour note last night. Now, it went on a long time, and I'm always in favor of brevity as opposed to length, so I guess you can criticize it for that reason if you want. But he had a lot to talk about, and he punctuated it with these gestures on behalf of these people, which I thought were fully appropriate. I mean, so yeah, I thought it was a good night. I mean, I was a little worried because the president can. He says in his book, he says, when I've been, I could dig the quote up here because I've been taking notes. He says, when I've been screwed and treated really unfairly, he said, I fight it. He says, even when it's very risky, I fight it. And he might have let it loose, and he didn't.
Yeah.
So,
and President, in speaking of the length and everything else, I like it. It's kind of like the reason why I don't want them to speed up baseball, because I like baseball games that last a long time because it's enjoyable to sit in a stadium or whatever, or sit in your living room and have the TV on and watch baseball. Or, for instance, when I start to binge watch or watch Blacklist, which is one of my favorite new shows on Netflix. It's not new, and then it ends, and I'm like, darn it, it ended. I could watch this. This could go on forever, as far as I'm concerned. And maybe it's because I'm your Trump fanboy, right? But I like it. I'm like wondering what's next, whenever he's talking. So
Jamie, that's very important because you commented before it's early in the election cycle, but on a political level, and every State of the Union address operates at least partly on a political level. It's setting the stage for the midterms, and the part of that speech was aimed at people like you and me. I mean, he's reminding his own supporters that, look, I promised I would do these things, and I've done them, right? How often do we say about politicians, they say things during the campaign and then they don't follow through? And Trump, as last night, he said, I followed through, and he brought the receipts. And I think one of the criticisms I've had about them to this point is that they're doing so much, they've done so much, that they don't take enough victory laps. They don't allow it to soak in. Sometimes you want to take a week and drive one message.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
And that's really not his style. He goes from one thing to another. But I think last night he made up for a lot of that. And so if you were a person who really had hopes that, hey, Trump is going to rebuild the manufacturing base, Trump is going to give a break in taxes to, the common man, again, quote unquote. Trump's going to get drug prices down. Trump's going to get crime down. Trump's going to get the border secured, and he's going to deport people, especially the dangerous ones who came here. Well, you heard last night, right? He's done it.
Yeah.
So that's very important, Jamie. I mean, because if there's one thing that the midterms are going to turn on, it's turnout.
Yeah.
It's going to turn on, turn out. I like that phrase.
Right on.
And he needs to motivate his people, and then the Democrats walked into it. And, we did it a few times. I mean, it can happen because you're sitting there boiling over some of it, and, you want to do something.
Yeah.
The guy who yelled one time at Obama, you're a liar or something.
Right.
See, that's a mistake. I'm not saying he's wrong, by the way, but I mean, you don't do it on those nights.
No, you really don't. And I think what's his name, Al Green, lasted like 5 minutes before they before they kicked him out. It's like it's so crazy. And I got to tell you, there's an accessibility about President Trump that I think is really really nice. I think that I don't know what it is, but unlike presidents before him, even presidents obviously we liked, there's something about him that is accessible. Like I feel like he's talking to me, and I like that. I mean, I'm 62 years old. I really haven't experienced that before, with the exception of maybe Ronald Reagan. So it's pretty crazy.
Well, you know what? And I'm with the Reagan Institute, and I think Reagan belongs in our first rank of presidents.
Yeah.
But he was not particularly gregarious. He respected the people, and he always worked for them, But he wasn't a slap on the back kind of guy. And I don't think Trump is either, but he's obviously extremely comfortable, and I think has a genuine affection, as I said before, for, again, quote unquote, average Americans. Remember the McDonald's stunt?
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to tell you, if you do not feel comfortable around, line workers and that sort of thing, you don't even try something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, Kamala Harris would have been an utter and complete disaster. But I said Trump knows his strengths, and he wasn't pretending during that he was anything but a former president. Obviously, but he relates to. I absolutely agree. He relates to people, and I think he has, again, a genuine admiration and regard for the people he honored last night. So he also understands how to put on a spectacle. I mean, let's face it.
Oh, yeah.
This guy understands showmanship. So
yes.
Yeah, he played to all his strengths. I was very pleased. I mean, again, you're always a little worried. I mean, when Susie Wiles had a meeting, I think I read a story about this, 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago, with the top people in the administration. And she says, look, we're going to be messaging about the economy. And then she says, that's what I want you to talk about. And then she said, now the president's going to talk about what he wants to talk about, when he wants to talk about it. But the rest of us, we're talking about the economy.
Well, and I realize that, it shouldn't be a big feat, but I do have to tell you, the Democrats that did show up, I have to give them credit, even though that's really kind of what you're supposed to do anyway. But considering you have to be really bad to have not shown up and participated in the frog and giraffe and Calais Albrego show out at the Lincoln Memorial. So, to their credit, some of these Democrats at least showed up, even though it turned into a trap for them. And speaking of one Democrat, and this speaks to President Trump's fearlessness when it comes to just pulling somebody's pants down. And he did this with Nancy Pelosi. Check it out.
As we ensure that all Americans can profit from a rising stock market, let's also ensure that members of Congress cannot corruptly profit from using insider information. They stood up for that. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Did Nancy Pelosi stand up if she was here?
That was just the best. That was great.
But you can do that with Nancy because I admire her from a lot of different stems. She's very tough. He's not punching down when he does that, and everybody knows, by the way. And that's a comment. That's a proposal. Those shoes pinch a lot of people. And I think that applause was genuine because most of the members and the senators don't do that, okay? And they know there are people doing it. And they should go. They should. We have ethics committees. I mean, we ought to engage that. Really, I mean, this is Congress and Senate business. I mean, they ought to take care of it themselves. But the president's right in what he said, and I thought it was a genuine moment. I mean, how has she gotten all this money? I don't want to pick on her.
No, I know.
There are others who do it, but
yeah.
I mean, it's not right. And what's her name? Omar. What is she worth now? She's reporting like $30 million. She's worth, and she hasn't even been in the Congress that long.
Right.
I mean, how
right.
did that happen? I mean, there's something going on there,
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. It really brings the whole institution down when people do that.
Yeah.
I remember how we used to sweat. My wife did the disclosure reports, and she would sweat bullets over those rules. Have I ever told you this? We got a call one time from the ethics committee. My chief of staff did. And the guy said, I just want you to know that your ethics reports are the absolute best. I mean, my wife would sweat over those things, and every little detail she would want to put. And
Well, it's weird. How it must be crazy to get a call from the ethics committee just to tell you how great your reports are. That's like pretty cool.
Well, the guy just did it on the spur of the moment, and I'm not bragging. I mean, Brenda did it. I mean, in fact, I used to go in and tell her, she would say, now, do I have to report this transaction as of this month or next month? And I said, look, just do the best you can. As long, we're laying all the stuff out. If any reporter wants to know, they call and I'll ask them.
Yeah.
But I couldn't invest and didn't, like in Boeing because I was so active on the Armed Services Committee. There's lots of things that we just stayed away from. And I didn't consider that some high level. I never considered myself, a white hat. Okay.
Yeah.
I just thought that's the right thing to do.
Yeah. Well.
But anyway.
All right.
That was a good comment and a good speech. And you have every right to be pleased, my friend.
Oh, yeah. It was really something. And I still just can't pick my jaw up off the floor over just the absolute dumpster fire that was the Democrat Party last night. I mean, even if they tried, they couldn't have come across more negatively. It's like, wow, you guys are really just running the whole gamut here, aren't you? It's crazy. But Jimmy, thanks so much for your time, man. I really appreciate you. It's great talking to you, and we'll chat again soon.
Okay, Jamie. Thanks.
All right, buddy. That is Jim Talon, and yeah. So at the memorial, then you have Joy Reid. There's hardly anybody there. And for some reason, Joy Reid was there. And listen to this.
Al Green, if you can hear me, I'm so in. Come on. Hear it. Keep it going. Whatever you. Woo.
Yeah, no.
It's all right with me.
No. You can't do that to Al Green. This is Common Sense Radio. It's the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Keep on this train here, but I also gonna. Man, did you see this father and son? There was somebody, school district or whatever's handing out Qurans and hijabs on, I think, National Muslim Day or something. It's crazy. But father and son gave the people who did it an earful. We'll follow up on that, too. And don't forget, Rick Pogue, our business guru, is going to be on with us as well. It's Common Sense Radio.
Since we've been together, ooh, loving you forever is what I need.
This is 101.9 and 94.1.
Female millennial Trump supporter. I listen to it like every day. Like, seriously, you get it.
News Talk STL.
Ladies and gentlemen, Benchmark Complete Auto in Valley Park. I got to tell you, Gene and the crew there are so good at what they do, and they are so confident in how good they are at what they do. They're going to give you something very unusual in the business of auto repair. They're going to give you a 12-month or 12,000-mile warranty on qualified repairs. That's really, very cool. And there are a lot of places that aren't going to back up their work that way. They're not really in it to win it. They're not really in it for relationships. They're just in it to get your repair done, make as much money as they can off of it, and maybe they'll see you later, maybe they won't. Gene has it as his business vibe that he wants to create relationships with people. So he's not going to nickel and dime you. He's going to do quality work. He and his team are going to do quality work. He has the best mechanics in town there at Benchmark Complete Auto in Valley Park. And the nickel and diming thing is an important consideration here because it's not about making the most out of, one little hit on your car. He wants you to come back. He wants you to recommend him. He wants you, like I'm doing, where I get 4 tires from him. I get a great deal, and now I'm going to take my daughter's car back because the check engine light is on. So it's those kinds of things. So when you think about, hey, I got a guy, you want to make sure, and Gene wants to make sure, it's Gene Bentrip with our folks at Benchmark Auto in Valley Park. You can check it out on the web there, benchmarkautorepair.com. They're a Napa Auto Care Center. Oil changes, wheel alignments, inspections, or expert diagnostics and repairs. That's the people I recommend. Benchmark Complete Auto Repair. Family owned and operated more than 25 years, and now, of course, proud sponsors of free common sense conservative radio. You mention my name or News Talk STL, and you get 10% off of your next work. BenchmarkAutoRepair.com. That's BenchmarkAutoRepair.com.
You should know that when I endorse Wellington Environmental, it's because I believe and know they will do you right. Wellington takes pride in providing homeowners and businesses whatever they need. You need some dustless blasting, they will take care of that. You need some mold remediation, they can do that. They take pride in training their team to perform multiple services and having the equipment ready to get jobs finished. That's important to you. You make just one call, and you call a company that's been around for more than 35 years with more than 45 technicians in the field. Most of you know finding good workers, then having them show up on time could be difficult. Not for Wellington Environmental. They're there at the designated time, ready to go. Check them out to see what they could do for you. Dustless blasting or anything else you need. Wellington Environmental, 314-644-4930. 314-644-4930. Be well with Wellington.
This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
What is it going to take for Americans to wake up and stop demonizing our nation? Listen, I know I'm preaching to the choir, but even many Democrats are realizing we're spinning out of control. Of course, those Democrats are not the far-left loonies. They are Americans who truly want the best for their families and our nation. Just like you, just different politics. The loonies are acting as if they have the high moral ground. Actor Robert De Niro saying, I want America back. I would second that. But at the same time, he complains about all those U.S. flags flying along with MAGA flags. He's caught in the twilight zone, along with Obama, Clinton, even Schumer, who in years not too far past spoke defiantly against letting illegals invade our nation. Then you have the leftist loon, Gavin Newsom, trying to make himself look equal in the eyes of a black audience, but basically mocked them. He said, I'm just like you. I can't read. Even black radio host Charlemagne the God chastised Newsom, and I quote, with the necessary edit, Newsom doesn't stand a frickin' chance of being president.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL. Conservative talk for St. Louis.
It's your patriotic right and duty.
The government needs to step up and do its job.
This is News Talk STL.
It's well-balanced conversation.
News, analysis, opinion.
Ashley just warning me. She's like, I think Facebook's going to pull you off if you play this Camila Cabello song. I'm doing it just because I wanted to follow up on what's been happening to her on the internet ever since she went out and condemned the Cuban government for its mistreatment of its citizens. She's, after all, Cuban raised, basically. Her parents came over here when she was a little girl, when she was 7 years old, so and brought her with them. And so she's got a vested interest in the future of Cuba, and so she's just getting this is where you really see what's happening with a lot of these mutts that have been part of the left-wing open borders pro-communist cabal, and it's really gotten bad. So she went out, and I won't play her too long because I mean, again, and we talked about this yesterday because we were talking about maybe Stephen Morey and others normalizing some relationships with Cuba. And then Ashley was telling us about her experience there with her choir. And did I call it a choir? What did you call it? Is it choir? Okay, good. I just want to make sure I got that right. But it took some guts for her to go out and get on the internet and talk about the fact that the communists in Cuba are really ruining her country. And she said there's so much going on here at home and so much I can say about the heartbreaking things the immigrant community is experiencing here in the U.S. I also feel a personal responsibility to speak about what's happening in Cuba. I still have family on the island that we speak to and send medicine to and food and clothes to because that's not happening there with the communist government there and hasn't since 1962. And so she has a vested interest in that. And man, the backlash that she has received from these communists in this country. Now, keep in mind, we all know that Twitter and Facebook and even Instagram and for that matter, TikTok, sometimes you never know whether these accounts are foreign accounts or what have you. But man, they've called her disgusting. They've called her gross. They've called her a simp for the United States government because the commies all blame the U.S., even though we give them millions of dollars in Cuba. The commies say it's the U.S.'s fault that the communist government over there isn't thriving because that's your typical answer from the people who are traitors to this country. And so Camila Cabello, I hope am I pronouncing her name right, Ashlyn? Okay. Are basically just bravely going out on the internet. And nowadays, you'd think that something as normal as that would ultimately be something that people would support and would glorify someone as brave as her who, came out and just basically said, this is really bad. It's really terrible over there. And we should do something about it. And so there are a lot of commies out there, people on the internet and beyond. In the meantime, I am, much like I have had a hard time shaking the vision of the embarrassment that was the Democrat Party yesterday. I can't stop looking at it. Like I want to keep, stare at it like a car wreck or something, rubbernecking. I'm like, wow, you guys really did this? This is crazy. And much like I'm having a hard time getting that vision out of my mind, imagine, and I would not look at it if I were you, but I'm having a hard time getting the vision of Stephen Hawking with women in bikinis on Epstein Island. And so I'm sorry I said that because you're maybe even eating lunch, but I would warn you, don't go in there. Don't look in there. I just want you to know because those things are out on the internet now as well. All right, this is really interesting. So Monday, the Daily Wire went out to interview college kids about the State of the Union address. And it was interesting because it was like, what's your reaction to the State of the Union address? But the State of the Union address hadn't happened yet. And so they went out there and talked to the college kids who had an opinion about the State of the Union address the day before the State of the Union address actually happened.
College kids are telling us Trump's State of the Union didn't go so well. The only problem, it's tomorrow. Rate Trump's State of the Union speech 1 out of 10. 1's the worst, 10's the best. Negatives. And why? I think we all know a lot of reasons. Yeah. What about the State of the Union last night? 1 to 10.
It was like a 1 or 2. I mean, it was all over the place.
Probably just give him a 0 overall.
Gonna give it a 1.
And why do you say 1?
I don't think he's very articulate.
How did Trump do at the State of the Union?
0. I'll be real, I didn't watch it.
Like, yeah, I didn't really watch it much. I watched it for a little bit, but turned it off.
The State of the Union last night. How was that? 1 to 10.
I know it was last night. I thought it was tomorrow.
No, you're good. You passed the test. Good
Yeah,
job.
I mean, can you believe that? These people already had an opinion about what it was. Golly. Makes you wonder. Crazy country of ours. It's Common Sense Radio. It's the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Coming up, father and son team up for Common Sense. It's coming up.
I think we should be able to have a civil conversation.
The news and talk that matters to St. Louis.
This conversation has completely made me crazy.
This is complete insanity.
News Talk STL.
Ladies and gentlemen, Buckingham Pest Control and Noel Buckingham and the crew have an exciting new thing for you, a product. It's called Tap Insulation. And this is really pretty groovy. And you're going to get it from Buckingham Pest Control. You're going to get a rebate from Spire when you have the tap insulation installed, and you're going to love it. So here's why they call it tap insulation. It is thermally superior to any insulation out there. It is acoustically superior to any insulation out there. So, you know, when you're recording your next album in your living room, it's going to keep the sound in for you. That's basically it. And the P stands for pest control. Yeah. There's a pest control element there, a proprietary blend of pest control in the insulation. Now, keep in mind, the attic is where a lot of your pests like to come in because sometimes it's easier to get into the house through the attic and the vents and all that other mother jazz. So you got to make sure to get them while they're at the entrance point of your house, and that's what the tap insulation will do. So that's very, very cool. Doesn't matter. The insulation is great for you in the winter as well as in the summertime. Also, keep in mind, it's starting to, well, you're smelling spring, maybe smelling a little bit of summer, and you're also trying to figure out, am I just going to spray off all over my body, or am I finally going to get Noel Buckingham and his pest control crew to come out and do a mosquito treatment on the backyard so I just don't have to worry about it and don't have to spray bug spray all over my body and all that kind of thing. And Buckingham Pest Control will be your go-to people for a pest-free home and a pest-free yard. Check it out on the web, buckinghampestcontrol.com. That's buckinghampestcontrol.com.
Concerned about the condition of your windows driving up your energy bills? I was too. It's only called STL Windows and Doors. Their Provia windows combine old world craftsmanship the professional way, the Provia way, with over 65 years of combined experience, locally owned, offering competitive pricing and personalized service that the big box companies can't match. Call today for your free in-home estimate and start saving tomorrow. 314-277-5952 or stlwindowsanddoors.com.
Hi, it's Ken Williams, and my favorite Capriati sandwich is the Capastrami. You've got hot pastrami, melty Swiss cheese, crunchy coleslaw, and zesty Russian dressing. What else do you need? I love Capriati's, and you will too.
On Manchester at McKnight in Rock Hill. Lower your car payment today. Lower your car payment today. Yes, you heard us right. You can lower your car payment right now by making this free call and save up to $1,400 a year on your current car payments. Think about your current car payment right now. What's that costing you per year? Now think about what it would be like to put an extra $1,400 back in your pocket. That's the average savings our customers experience. We can help you drive the same car and pay less every month by lowering your car payments interest rate to as low as 4.67%. At Rate Genius, we can work with you to refinance any car payment. If you qualify, it costs you nothing to find out how you can lower your car payment. To learn more, call this number right now.
800-493-5670. 800-493-5670. 800-493-5670. That's 800-493-5670.
Colombo and Company.
On Wednesday, we'll recap Trump's State of the Union and all the fallout and reaction to the speech, plus Missouri political insider Rodney Boyd, Danny Define, and Closest Cabinet.
Live and local, weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
Good afternoon, everyone, and happy 3 Martini lunch to you and yours. It's Common Sense Radio. Yes, indeed it is. Well, so you all know what would happen, right, if you started handing out copies of the 10 Commandments or whatever it happens to be at a public school. You know that, right? You know that would absolutely not be happening. But the school board and what's going on in Texas, by the way? What is up with Texas? How is Texas pooping out these horrible liberal people? What has happened to Texas? I mean, it's crazy. But anyway, the school board of the Wiley Independent School District in Texas basically got hammered by a 12-year-old student and an angry father about the school's observance of World Hijab Day. Is it hijab or hijab? I have no idea. What is it? Is it hijab? Hijab. Anyway, you get the drift here. World Hijab Day. I mean, really? Could you imagine World Catholic Rosary Day? No. Anyway, students were given hijabs, Korans, and pamphlets on Sharia law at the school. And a woman, basically, you remember this, when Turning Point USA held an event at a school, this woman filed a report with Child Protective Services. For some reason, it was A-OK to hand out Korans and hijabs and pamphlets on Sharia law at the public school. The 12-year-old boy's like, hey, no.
Good evening, members of the school board. My name is Leland Saunders, and I'm a 12-year-old resident of Farmersville, Texas. I understand that the outside organization was approved to be on campus. However, I am concerned about the religious material that were handed out to students during the lunch period. The following materials were handed out: hijabs, Korans, and Sharia law pamphlets. Public schools serve students from many different religious backgrounds and students who have no religious beliefs at all. Because of that, I believe our schools must remain neutral when it comes to religious promotion during the school day. Even if participation was voluntary, handing out religious texts and items during school hours raises questions about whether that crosses the line from education into religion.
And I love the kid because he's so measured about it. You know, it raises the question of whether or not it crosses. And, of course, we all know the absolute answer to that. And, of course, it crosses the line. And it's not just because it's related to Muslims, but basically, thank you, Ashton. I'll go ahead with that. Yeah. If you can't hand out Bibles, and by the way, maybe it's different for Muslims, but I don't want religion in public schools. I don't want the Christian faith I wouldn't want the 10 Commandments in a public school, because at that point what happens is you have all these NEA freaks and all the liberals interpreting it through the children. And so there's a good reason to keep some of this stuff, even prayer for that matter, in public schools, because once you hand it over to the NEA, you never know what they're going to do with it. So I'm not quite sure why the Muslims would think that that's okay, too, for their faith, but maybe they just don't have as many standards as some Christians might, like me, in terms of not wanting it soiled in a public school environment. The dad really went off, and I'll have that for you later on in the program. Coming up on the other side of this, we're going to double back on this amazing State of the Union address with our business guru, Rick Pogue, who you know was watching. Yes, indeed. Good afternoon, everyone. This is the 3 Martini Lunch. It's the Allman Report on News Talk STL, Common Sense Radio.
Why has Steph's Pizza become the place to go for St. Louis-style pizza, appetizers, salads, and pastas? One taste and you'll know. Dine in, pick up, delivery, even DoorDash. Locally owned and operated with legendary pizza and a new location in Lake St. Louis at 111 Palm Fort Trail. In St. Peters, St. Charles, and the original Stephanitas in O'Fallon on Veterans Memorial Parkway. Steph's Pizza is proud to be part of the News Talk STL family. Check them out at stephspizza.com. And remember, tonight's a good night for Steph's Pizza.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One. Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on Newstalk STL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news at Town Hall. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington.
Members of Congress and my fellow Americans.
President Trump began his State of the Union address last night with his bold proclamation.
Our nation is back, bigger, better, richer, and stronger than ever before.
Another dusting of snow last night raked its way across parts of the Northeast, still trying to dig out from this week's blizzard. National Weather Service forecaster Bob Oravec says the extended forecast now calls for 2 new fronts, bringing more snow.
And that'll be pushing eastward into the East Coast by late in the weekend. That actually sets the stage for a potential another storm, maybe Monday into Tuesday, anywhere from the Midwest, lower lakes area into the mid-Atlantic and Northeast.
This is Bob Oravec at the National Weather Service. Ukrainian President Zelensky says the Ukrainian delegation is set to meet tomorrow with U.S. President Trump's envoys ahead of another round of trilateral talks with Russia. Zelensky told reporters today that Ukraine's negotiator will hold talks with Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner in Geneva. A round of nuclear talks between the U.S. and Iran expected to be held on the same day. Defense Secretary Hegseth threatening Anthropic with the loss of a Pentagon contract if it denies the military more access.
Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei believes the more capable and autonomous AI becomes, the greater the potential for its misuse. He's repeatedly called for its regulation, and the company's focus has been on developing systems that won't cause harm. Anthropic was awarded a $200 million national security contract last July, but tensions have arisen over its refusal to lift restrictions, preventing its technology from being used to carry out domestic surveillance or to target weapons on the battlefield.
That's BBC's David Willis. More from townhall.com.
Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. A lot of us are thinking about taxes, home projects we've been putting off, ways to get ahead financially in 2026. Now's the perfect time to talk to my friends at Fellowship Home Loans. If you want to lower your mortgage payment, they can help you refinance. If you need access to cash for home improvements or to wipe out high-interest debt, their fixed-rate line of credit is one of the best tools out there. Fast approval, predictable rate, and flexibility to use your home's equity wisely. Remember, many people still qualify to skip their next 2 mortgage payments. Imagine starting big projects or paying down debt with 2 months of breathing room. My family and I have used Fellowship personally. I trust these guys. Take control of 2026. Go to fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G. fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G. fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G, or call 800-510-MIKE. That's 800-510-6453. Fellowship Home Loans, mortgage lending by the book.
Nationwide Mortgage Bankers, DBA Fellowship Home Loans, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 819382.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Cloudy skies and cool temperatures, low 50s for a high today. Not a bad day. We're just not really going to break out of the clouds very much. And there is a chance for a little light rain, maybe even a couple of wet snowflakes that would result in wet roads overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. And the high temperature tomorrow in the low to mid 50s again. But boy, this weekend looks great. Friday and Saturday both. And then Sunday, we've got a chance for another wintry mix. In the First Alert Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Kent Earhart.
I'm in my late
few years ago. He did all of our taxes. I sold a piece of property last year, and I forgot to claim the proceeds of the sale. Next thing I know, I got a letter from the IRS telling me that I owe over $50,000. Now I have a huge tax problem. I don't have that kind of money. I wish I knew who to call.
If you sold property in the last calendar year or didn't claim all of your part-time or even retirement income, you could be in big trouble with the IRS. Call first before they send you a letter. If you've already got a letter, call. We'll help you file years of past tax returns and save you time and money. So call the tax doctor. The call is confidential and free.
800-240-4586. 800-240-4586. 800-240-4586. That's 800-240-4586.
Freedom Caucus Unfiltered, debuting this Sunday night at 7 on News Talk STL. Hear all the behind-the-scenes stories about what the State Freedom Caucus is doing across the country, directly from the legislators and the people that are doing it. Freedom Caucus Unfiltered, this Sunday night at 7 with very special guest Mark Meadows, hosted by Tim Jones. Freedom Caucus Unfiltered, now Sunday nights at 7 on News Talk STL.
JC's Wayback Machine.
This week, we'll revisit the 1999 implosion of the old arena and the hilariously misguided group that was trying to stop it. The A-list interview is with the crocodile hunter, Steve Irwin, who would have had a birthday a couple of days ago. And we'll acknowledge the 35th anniversary of Yo Vic arriving on the St. Louis airwaves. All brought to you by the Weber Automotive Group.
It's JC's Wayback Machine. Every Saturday night, 6 to 9 on News Talk STL.
Dreaming about a vacation but not sure where to start? Should you book that all-inclusive resort or a cruise? Which destination? What cruise line? And how do you know you're getting the best value? That's where Magic Expeditions comes in. We're your St. Louis local travel experts, helping you choose the vacation that fits. Whether a relaxing adults-only escape, family-friendly resort, or unforgettable cruise adventure, skip the stress, the guessing, and endless online searching. Visit magicexpeditions.com. That's magicexpeditions.com.
This app is absolutely fantastic. Yes, I listen on my phone.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
It is awesome.
Download the all-new News Talk STL app and listen anytime, anywhere.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Allman Report. Happy Wednesday to all of you and yours. It's Common Sense Radio. Now starts the second martini, my friends. Go ahead. It's a 3-martini lunch. Knock yourself out, people. That's all. Jamie Allman here in Ashland there. And just following up really quickly on what's going on in Texas, I did ask the question, like, what the hell is going on with Texas and all these really crazy liberals who are showing up there, and Barely Biggs points out something I think really interesting and true. It's the same problem with Arizona, same problem with Colorado. These formerly ballsy types of states have been watered down by a bunch of wimpy, destructive liberals. It's not unlike what happens here in the St. Louis area, because when liberals trash their communities and vote for people who help trash their communities, then they just move and trash the communities they're moving into. That's why you have so many dopes out there in St. Charles County and polluting the population there in O'Fallon and everything else. It happens in Jefferson County as well. All the liberals escape their litter boxes after they've filled them up with poop, and then just start pooping everywhere else. And that's exactly what they're doing in these other states, which is why you wind up getting this situation at this Texas school where they're handing out Islamic goodie bags. It's unbelievable.
There was an event to where there was an Islamic group known as Why Islam that had a booth inside of our school during lunch, and they were giving out hijabs to girls. They were giving out Qurans, and they had pamphlets about Sharia law and other Islamic topics. And
yeah, the goodie bag had Why Islam on it. And this was in a public school. Of course, you could never do that, like why Christianity or why Judaism or name any other religion. but apparently that was okay. Ladies and gentlemen, Rick Pogue, our business guru, I know that you have something to say about this, but I got to tell you, man, this was great last night. I opened the show just basically saying, watching all the fainting goats in the Democrat Party was really super disturbing. And I mean, it was bad even by Democrat standards, and the juxtaposition and the contrast was so clear, and it was really an amazing night for real Americans, and a really bad train wrecky night for those who are not. Pretty crazy, buddy.
It was. Hey, brother, it's good to talk to you.
Yeah.
One thing about the Democrat Party, other than you can always count on, besides their unity, no matter how crazy it is, you can always count on them to be themselves. And last night they were themselves to the nth power on the national scene. And President Trump did an amazing job I thought, of exposing that with the questions he had embedded in his speech. How do you stand up if you support, or if you believe that the government should be support the American people, not illegal aliens, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I thought he did a great job of putting that stuff in his speech and exposing them. And they were more than happy to comply and give their honest answer. So from that perspective, it's a good thing. A lot of Americans saw the true side of that party last night, that they are lied to about daily from the national media who hide that, because Democrats can never be who they really are. They have to lie about who they are. Well, last night they just can't help themselves. And the 73 or whatever it wound up being that did not attend, to me, Jamie, that's just unacceptable. We couldn't stand Joe Biden. Joe Biden could barely get through a speech, and what he did say was all BS. But as an elected official, your job is to be there and show up. There is no excuse, in my opinion, for not showing up to those things.
Yeah. And the way it just appeared, even when you watch Melania, for instance, put that medal onto around the neck of that veteran, that World War II veteran, it was just such a great, almost a family affair, not to mention the 6'9" Barron Trump, who was out there as well, and it wasn't just the Trump family. It felt like a family of Americans, with the USA hockey team, with our heroes, with the angel moms, and even some of the real bona fide immigrants and everything else. It just seemed like a party, and the Democrat Party seemed like that brooding cousin sitting at the table at a wedding reception, just staring at people dancing. It was like they were so bad, and yet you point out they're really good at being bad. So that's how it goes. They perfected it.
Well, that's just who they are, and I thought that was, in my opinion, that was the best State of the Union speech I've seen. And I thought, Jim Talent had mentioned earlier that he read the transcript. Well, I have not, but I paid as close attention as I could. He had more accomplishments than he could touch on last night. That's why the speech took 2 hours. And the Democrats know that. They know he's had more success in his first year than probably any president in U.S. history. So their response to that can't be stand and applaud. It has to be sit on your hands, disrupt, yell at him like Omar and Tlaib, the crazy people from Minnesota, did. Hold a sign up like Al Green. That's all they know.
Yeah.
They know they're having their rear ends handed to him, and he's achieving a new level of success in spite of what they're doing, and some Republicans do. And that's all they have. So I expected that. I really wasn't surprised by anything last night. Not even, the vulgar badges they were wearing, and Omar was yelling at him. Nothing they can do really surprises me anymore. I'm just happy to see Americans see it for themselves.
Yeah, and at one point, and there's video of it. Rashida Tlaib, while people are chanting USA, 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 she's mouthing KKK. If you could believe just how bad these mutts like Rashida Tlaib are, and these individuals, and of course, she must not know, and this is kind of the problem with some people, is and there's not enough education that it's her party that started the KKK, but it wouldn't occur to her because she doesn't know anything about it. So it's pretty crazy.
No, she doesn't, and she hates America too. I mean, it's hard for some people to hear that. How could she hate America? She hates America. Okay, she'll tell you that if you listen to what she says.
Yeah.
But what a great what a thorough job of going over the successes he's had in his first year, while getting those hilarious digs in, like with Nancy Pelosi. I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah.
You know, I loved it when he said these people are crazy, because they are crazy.
Yeah.
You know, they're behaving. You talk about un-American, and the Democrats like Jeffries, whom I give him credit for being there.
Yeah.
You know, but people like him, they love to say that Trump is un-American, or this is un-American, and everything he does is un-American. They are as un-American as it gets. Plain and simple.
I mean, you'd think that.
Go ahead.
Well, you'd think, Rick, that knowing that this is a big stage and knowing that it's going to be a really largely watched event and it's going to be a big event, you'd think the Democrats would at least attempt to come up with something that would be redeeming for them. And it's weird. It's like they totally flopped. I mean, you know, not that I really care that much about it, but like I said at the beginning, you know, I want to talk about all the positive things about President Trump, but I can't stop looking at the burning semi on the side of the road. You know, it's like I can't stop looking at it, this grotesque kind of imagery. And, man, they really screwed themselves. And as Amy points out on the Facebook page, she says, you know, the GOP better use some of those images for the campaign, and that was exactly Scott Jennings' idea. Here's what he said on CNN, Rick.
I think the part of the speech that's probably going to live on for most Republicans is when he asked the Congress, stand up if you think your duty is first to American citizens before illegal aliens. Republicans stood up. It gave him his most sustained applause for the night. I suspect, man, you're going to see this in a lot of campaign ads that Democrats wouldn't stand up. What did you all think of the showmanship of that, or of sort of the spectacle of trying to get Democrats to stand up for that?
Well, I think, yeah, anyway, Jennings is saying that this has got to show up in campaign ads. I mean, it's almost as if the whole event was really a taping session for Republican campaign ads going into the midterms.
Yeah. Trump derangement syndrome is real. If anyone out there still thought it was not real or fantasy, last night proved it was real. They will always be who they are. They just cannot help it. They cannot help themselves. Donald Trump knows that. So that's why he, in my opinion, brilliantly exposed a lot of their lies. Democrats are doing damage control. If you look at Facebook today and look at the internet, all they're doing is follow-up meetings and speeches and presentations about last night, because they know that, I think they know they screwed up. They were just in a fog and they couldn't help themselves last night. But full-blown damage control today. I was watching some Omar video a while ago.
Oh, yeah.
She had some Somalis on there, and she's talking to him and, you know, calling him racist. And I could not be more proud of the job President Trump did last night. Was decorum broken? Yeah, a little bit, but so what? They've trashed the decorum there. I mean, they've taken it to a new low. So it doesn't bother me that the president called out Nancy Pelosi or called them out for not sitting down, told them they're crazy, or for not standing up, called them crazy. That doesn't bother me. I love the fact that the man will fight back.
Oh, yeah. I think that he took full advantage not only of the time that he had, but full advantage of every single moment. And, man, you know, in the past, we've seen so many Republicans. I just remember George W. Bush. God love him, but you know what I mean? I just remember watching him all the time and thinking, dude, come on, just step it up just a little bit. You know, be real just for a second here, you know. And now we have that, which is really amazing. And contrary to some of the negativity people talk about as it relates to President Trump, he's actually a very sunny and positive individual. And it's amazing how different he is than these people try to lie about him, you know?
Yeah, totally agree. And he was able to do all that and still touch on all his huge wins. Again, I don't say that lightly. Probably the most successful first year of any president in history. I mean, what did we have? 53 times the Dow Jones set a record, you know? GDP growth. Under Biden, it was what, 1%, 2% they considered great. Now we're dealing with 4 and 5% quarterly GDP growth. You know, there's a lot of people that don't understand how important that is. That's a big freaking deal. You know, look what he was able to do with these terrorists all across the world. The deals he was able to negotiate with using these tariffs. And again, he'll find a way around the Supreme Court decision. I disagree with it, but he doesn't do this stuff lightly or just on a whim. He always has a plan B and a plan C. And I agree with Jim Talent on that too. He has the right to use tariffs, and he's going to find a way to continue to do that. You know, inflation's way down, food costs are way down. He line itemed all of that stuff and was still able to send the message to the American people about who the Democrats really are. I loved it.
Yeah, and you know what's even greater is that normally people like storming a stage or disrupting an event or doing that kind of thing would normally be the left-wingers, but I was really happy to see somebody from Trump world as Chris Murphy was on the stage, you know, at their Frog People event, and the guy stormed the stage. Listen to this. This is how it went there on for Chris Murphy when he was on the stage speaking about President Trump and everything else.
This is the reason that she came here to the United States, to speak truth to power, to explain the trials and tribulations that every immigrant, that every refugee goes through to get here, and to press this country to...
I stuck in the border. Go Trump! Go Trump! Hey, Murphy, you're a scumbag.
Hey, Murphy, you're a scumbag. It's like, you know what? It's about time some of us started to do stuff like that, you know? Take a page from their playbook every once in a while.
Oh, 100%. I was in the kitchen before the speech started. My wife was in there watching TV, and she said, they're wearing frog suits. I go, what are you talking about? I thought she was kidding.
No, I know.
She goes, no, really? And I just, you know, I hate to use the word crazy and say, but they are out of their minds. They are literally out of their minds.
Yeah.
And it's, I don't think, and again, I'm speaking on mostly the Democrats, but the Republican Party is complicit in many ways too, at least some of them, the establishment people. They cannot stand the fact that they have a president who makes promises and keeps the promises, makes them happen, actually does what he says he's going to do, puts the American people first and not himself. They don't know what to do with that because they've been fleecing Americans for years and years. And you call it the uniparty. That's a very real thing.
Oh, yeah.
And this man is there for us.
Yeah.
And they cannot stand it. The Democrats just go a lot crazier than the establishment Republicans do. That's the reason a lot of this is going on. He is tearing their world, their fleecing operation down.
Yeah. And then and they had this counter programming, and again the contrast was so incredible. You had the USA hockey team, and of course you had all these war heroes and these righteous people who have been victimized by Democrat policies, and you had all the accomplishments of President Trump and his administration all in one box in that room. And then the counter-programming featured a guy like Mehdi Hassan, who is a racist, jihadist, left-wing kook. You had Joy Reid, who, again, is a racist, left-wing kook. And Chris Murphy, of course, who's a kook. And then you had... the MS-13 wife-beating gang member as their featured guest. I'm like, how could you people have possibly programmed this thing like that?
The American people are just not that stupid.
Yeah.
And they think we are. And you know, in the end, it's going to expose them, and it's a good thing. How about Virginia Governor Spanberger?
Yeah.
I mean, I watched her whole speech, and this is what frustrates you so much. Everything they accuse us of doing. And it's amazing. She got up there and lied through the entire speech.
Oh.
And she kept asking those same three questions to the American people, I was watching that just dumbfounded, and they added the applause this year. Normally it's just there's no applause section during their speeches. I don't remember that, but now they have that as well. But this is a woman who promised not to be intrusive and do the things she's doing now. So she gets into office, she's raising taxes and doing all the things that liberals do. Virginia is going to be a disaster now for the next few years, and I guess we'll see how that plays out.
Well, and what's crazy about this, because, of course, the white liberals and the Democrats can't help themselves. Spanberger gave her speech from Williamsburg, Virginia, which basically is the cradle of the slave trade originally.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
the Democrat Party loved.
I mean, yeah, but it's like, man, you might want to choose like a different place. I mean, I have no issues with Williamsburg, but you know what I mean. I mean, it's kind of like, why not just give your speech from a plantation? You know what I mean?
Yeah, they have a very skewed version of what America should be, and I thank God every day that we have President Trump in there to kind of hold the mirror up.
Yeah.
And say, look what some of you American people are following. Look at what these people want. Look what they're doing. And under people like George Bush, you didn't have that. You had more of the uniparty thing. But I just thank God he's there for more reasons than I can name.
Yep, and I know you obviously own the Hideout and can't wait till springtime at the Hideout's coming up, and we've got a big Friday event coming up as well, music coming up. But I wanted to ask you, because I was talking about grocery prices the other day, and I was really actually happy. For instance, I still have people are probably tired of me talking about this, but I'm so thrilled whenever avocados are like $1 a piece. I'm like, wow, 10 for $10. I'm thinking, you got to be kidding me, because those were the ones they kept showing on TV that were going to be affected by the tariffs. And with the exception of maybe beef, and I'm thinking, well, okay, so you guys have to order a bunch of food, and you have to buy a bunch of food, raw food goods for all of your menu items. Have you seen a difference? I mean, I know already beef is expensive. I know that already.
Yeah.
But how's the other stuff going for you?
Well, the short answer is yes. We've seen a difference. We've seen costs get better. They're still too high, but they're coming down. This stuff doesn't happen. It doesn't just happen overnight. It takes time. It has to go through the whole system from beginning to end. So, but yeah, we feel a little bit of relief at this point. What I'll tell you now that I said the last couple times we talked, this is going to be the year where everything really comes down. He set all the framework for everything last year. It's had to run through the pipeline, and now this year you're gonna see the effects of that. Lower tax rate, the big beautiful bill. Something else people don't appreciate. Corporate tax rate was held at 21% and wasn't allowed to go back up to 36%. People don't understand what a big deal that is. Personal tax rates were held instead of it going back to where it was, reverting back to where it was before. This bill kept everything there. This law keeps everything there. It's literally the largest tax cut in history. So yeah, we are feeling the effects, but they're going to get better.
Yeah, and on liquor, it's interesting. So I stopped by Stars because they're my liquor people there, right on Big Bend, and that's where I talk about the trout dip and the wine selection and the liquor and everything else. And I bought a bottle of Hendrick's gin, which I like. I like tequila better, but I do drink gin on occasion. Bought a bottle of Hendrick's gin for $29.99, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, so I've been walking through Deerberg's, and Hendrick's gin there is at least $35, if not $36 a bottle. I'm thinking to myself, how is it possible that my buddy Bud Starr, right there on Big Bend at Star's Liquor, I can get a bottle of, I felt like buying 10 of them because they were so cheap, but I'm like, if I could get a bottle of Hendrick's for $29.99 there, the same size bottle of Deerberg's is $36 or something like that. So I have to tell you, I'm not accusing Deerberg's of doing this. I'm just saying that there are some wholesalers, other people doing this. I happen to think that there's a little bit of this. Well, they claim the tariffs raise prices, so why not go ahead and raise prices and blame it on the tariffs?
Jamie, I can tell you, there's not a little bit of that. There's a lot of that, okay? And as a private consumer right now, I'll put that hat on. I absolutely love Deerbergs. They do a phenomenal job. But you get what you pay for. You know, all the great services and the things they do in their amazing deli and all this stuff, you pay more for it. And that's what capitalism is. That's the free market system. I found Deerbergs, usually more expensive than, say, going to Schnucks or someplace else. That's just what I've always found anyways. So the numbers you just gave me don't really surprise me. But I can tell you there are a lot of places who raise prices just because they think they can. Some places can get away with it. Deerbergs is a first-class establishment. They can get away with raising prices because people are willing to pay for it for what they get.
Well, yeah, I mean, I just for the music selection at Deerbergs, I'm happy because they have the best overhead music. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
They do.
Well, they do a phenomenal job. I mean, they really do. And I'm fine with that. If we could command, charging people twice what we should at Hideout, we would. But that's what the competitive market is. We try to keep prices competitive. But it's called the value proposition. The better the value proposition, and Deerbergs has a great value proposition, you can get away with charging more for your goods and services. That's how it should be.
Yeah, and and essentially, really, in the end, I was talking to a guy who is involved in the cattle industry, and he said that that a lot of this is at the wholesale level. Like so for instance, if you see higher prices at Deerbergs, like let's just talk about the Hendricks gin. You see higher prices at Deerbergs, and that might not be Deerbergs that is the one literally like marking it up. It might be the people they're buying it from who are marking it up to begin with, and Deerbergs obviously has its eye on certain profit margins and everything else and has to adjust accordingly. But this guy was telling me at least at the meat level, especially with beef, these guys who are at the beginning of the process are the ones who are jacking up their prices.
Yeah, and that could very well be true. I mean, going back to the Arrowhead days, it doesn't matter what industry you're in. You have manufacturers, you have the people that make the product, and you have the people that distribute the product. Well, distribution comes in different shapes and forms. Sometimes it's direct to the consumer. Sometimes you got to go through a wholesaler who goes to a retailer, then to the consumer. Everybody that touches something is going to put something on it, and as they should. I don't blame them. But yeah, that industry was much the same, where you had wholesalers, which is basically what we were. Arrowhead was really a wholesaler, not a retailer. We just gave it a retail feel, and I think that's one of the reasons we had so much success. You felt like you were going, to a Home Depot, but you were buying wholesale. But same thing in the food industry.
Yeah.
I always told everybody, I think everybody at every level should make money. To be successful, every supplier or every person or every level of distribution should make money. If you've got that going on, that's a great thing. Consumers just want everything to be cheap. I get that.
Yeah,
I do too. But that's not real life.
Right on. Yeah, I like my Deerbergs in Brentwood. The Schnucks in my area is so ghetto. I don't even go in there. But then, but the Schnucks out in Des Peres is pretty cool. They have like a big restaurant. They like have live music and everything there. Really good liquor department, all that kind of stuff. And speaking of food, though, I noticed produce. Like I was buying some broccoli the other day because I keep on seeing these recipes come across on Reels, on Facebook Reels. Yeah. And I've yet to make one thing I've seen on Reels the way they do it on Reels. Like I don't know what they're doing or how they're cutting corners, but I try to follow I don't really follow recipes all that much, but I look at it and look at the process and everything else. I was trying to make these broccoli burgers, right? So you make the broccoli, then you smash it all up, and you put some breadcrumbs in there, and you turn it into like patties, and you stuff a little mozzarella cheese in the middle, and then you basically just grill it in olive oil, and they showed like making 4 or 5 of them. Like, oh man, those look good and healthy, everything else. And by the time everything was done, I had one big ball of broccoli mozzarella crap that I threw into a plastic container and ate it that way because it was just all one big mush. So I don't know how they do it, man.
How'd it taste? Did it taste okay?
It tastes great, man. I'm going to make it again, but just not try to do the patties. I'm just going to make it again, you know?
I'm going through my crock pot phase right now. So I'm studying crock pot recipes and having an absolute ball at home with that. So I made Olive Garden pasta the other day, and Heather loved it. And so that's my phase right now. I'm becoming a crock pot guru.
We are just two men sharing our recipes on the radio.
I admit it.
I know, man. I get it. All right, brother. Well, listen. So you were telling me last time you were on the air with about some Friday coming up.
Friday, April 3rd.
Okay.
We are opening the patio, and for the first time this year, and it'll be Bobby Ford Band. And if you've never seen Bobby Ford band, but you like the Zach Brown Band, that's basically how they are, and they are phenomenal. I mean, we'll have 250, 300 people out there. It'll be an absolute party, but that's Friday, April 3rd.
All right, man. I'm really looking forward to the opening of the patio there at the Hideout. It's always a ton of fun, and you run a great place there, brother, and I really appreciate you being on the show, as always, on Wednesdays.
Thank you, my friend. Love you. Have a good day.
All right, man. Love you, too. That is the great Rick Pogue, people. Yeah, those reels, man. I don't know. Have you guys ever seen the one on Facebook called Chef Reactions? It's really funny. You ought to look it up. And it's a guy, like he's a chef, and he sits there, and it's a split screen, and he watches all these people make their recipes, you know? Like, people share their recipes. I'm making, potatoes with, peppers and all that, whatever. And he's brutal to these people. Like, I think he finds them or they send him. I don't know what he does, and he rates it. And he is funny because he's brutal when people are showing off their cooking on Facebook. It's really funny. And yeah, Julie, sometimes I just like going to Deerberg's just for one thing. So I can just walk around and listen to the music, Cheap thrills, right? Hey, it's Common Sense Radio, the 3 Martini Lunch, the Allman Report on News Talk STL.
I think we should be able to have a civil conversation.
The news and talk that matters to St. Louis.
This conversation has completely made me crazy.
This is complete insanity.
News Talk STL.
Jamie Allman here for the Walner home selling team of Berkshire Hathaway. And I got to tell you, I can tell you and vouch for the Walner team because I am a member of the Walner team, the top selling Walner team, top-selling team in Berkshire Hathaway, and I am mostly a buyer's agent, just nailed down a contract for a family. So exciting. It was on actually his birthday yesterday, and he won an offer that I fought really super hard for. It was a multiple offer deal, and we won. And I'm pretty good at that, pretty good at negotiating for you, the Walner home selling team of Berkshire Hathaway. And all you have to do is make sure that you go ahead and give them a call and mention my name. We have also a bunch of team members as well. And the great thing of how we operate, for instance, is we had a situation where, for instance, the Walner team, I sold this home to the guy, found a home for him, and all I had to do was then hand off. He has to sell a home, so that's what he's doing. And so at that point, what he does is he now is going to sell the home. This guy's going to be super happy, and Rodney Walner is taking that over. So we purely are a team. 314-810-SOLD, 314-810-SOLD. Rodney and Jen, husband and wife, oh, man, their story is so amazing. At one point, and Jen doesn't mind me saying this, at one point, Jen pawned her wedding ring because these guys were, it was really a tough time for them. Rodney was in construction. Jen was doing other things as well, working in a psychiatric ward or whatever it was. I can't remember exactly what it was. But anyway, they were just young people struggling like you wouldn't believe, and decided to go ahead and foray into the real estate world, and that now they are the number one selling team in the Berkshire Hathaway network, and it's really cool. Great working with them. They work super hard. So if you want your home sold, you want us to take care of it because we pull out all the stops, do the drone pictures, everything else. And if you want a scrappy buyer's agent, you're looking for a house, you need to ask for me. 314-810-SOLD, 314-810-SOLD, licensed in both Missouri and Illinois. It's the Wallner home selling team of Berkshire Hathaway.
Want to work with a winner? Follow the multiplier. 279 times growth in total market cap in the past nearly 30 years. 50 times growth in client assets. And ranked the #1 wealth management firm for employee advisor satisfaction by J.D. Power 3 years in a row. Choose a winner. Choose Stifel, where success meets success. Stifel Nicholas & Company Incorporated. Member SIPC and NYSE. For J.D. Power 2025 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
Hey, it's Susie Moore. If new flooring makes you think hassle, think again, because Michael's Flooring is changing the game. For over 30 years, Michael's has been locally owned and trusted for quality, variety, and amazing service. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, laminate, luxury vinyl, or ceramic tile, their expert team makes installing new floors exciting, not stressful. That's why customers keep coming back. Visit Michael's Flooring at St. Peter's, Starting Prairie, Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
Dear mattress, you sag, you squeak, you've stopped supporting me. We're done.
This President's Day, upgrade to Beauty Rest Black, Stearns & Foster, or maybe go with a bold new Helix, Molecule, or Copper mattress. Save big up to $1,200. Get pressure map, get real support, and finally sleep like a dang legend. Snooze Mattress Company. If you don't snooze, you lose.
Free speech is alive and well in America right here.
It's about time somebody stood up for true American values.
What this country needs is some backbone.
Finally, a president who wants to make real change.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Life is sweet in the belly of the beast, in the belly of the beast, and with her song in your heart, it can never bring you down. It can never bring you down.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's Common Sense Radio. Jamie Allman here with you in Ashton over there. It's the 3 Martini lunch. Kathy says, love Jim Talent and this last gentleman you were sharing recipes with. Thank you, Kathy. His name is Rick Pogue. Yeah. Jared says, lately my reels are mostly Ella. She's from Texas, I can tell by the way he's two-stepping around the room. Gotcha. Okay. Ella Fitzgerald, huh? I don't know. I like my reels. I sometimes can get lost in them a little bit. And Julie says the Deerberg's music is roller skate music. Yeah. Be kind of a gas to kind of go and get Deerberg's and go shopping and roller skate your way through the aisles. I wouldn't even have to, be drunk to do that. I would do it anyway. So, probably do that. Good afternoon, everyone. And so all these crabby Appletons from the Democrat Party, man, I don't know how these people, it's like, does anything make you happy in any way, shape, or form, people? Do you ever just get tired of being so negative all the time and, everything else? Julie, frowned upon? Maybe. You know what, though? Roller skating, on the presumption that if you're roller skating through the aisles, maybe it's dangerous and you might run into somebody, whatever. But that's no different than the people who are pushing carts going 80 miles an hour around. I don't know what it is now, but I mean I know I've complained about this before, so I don't mean to be boring, but the seeming desperation of people while they're shopping is Heelys. What is that? What's a Heely?
Oh, okay. So back, I guess it was in grade school. It's a shoe that has a little wheel.
Oh,
in it,
yeah.
And you pop your heels up and you can skate.
I've seen those before. Those are like when I was a kid, that wasn't around, but I have seen those before. The Heelys, I love it. Yeah. So, but for whatever reason, at the grocery store, and I don't know what it is. Is it me? Maybe because I'm noticing people are like driving 100 miles faster than ever, and actually just and passing on the right all the time, and you're like, golly, what is happening out here? Like, how many times have you been driving, and you're wondering whether or not somebody's going to stop at a stop sign or whatever, or a stop light for that matter? You're like, is that person going to stop? And it's like crazy because everybody is like, and I don't know whether it's just me, and I'm changing, or I'm the problem, or I'm just noticing that people are running at a really fast clip no matter where they are. At the grocery store particularly, it's like, I don't know how many times somebody's turned the corner. I'm like, dude, really? It's like it's usually like a middle-aged man pushing, those half carts, I'm like, it's just like there's some kind of desperation going on that I don't know. I used to love it because my dad was like this. My dad was a sweet guy, and oftentimes, I didn't see him all the time. I was busy with building my TV career and doing all that kind of stuff, so I didn't see him a whole lot. But when I did, one of my dad's favorite things to do would be to go to the grocery store, because I would go to the grocery store with him as he was getting groceries for his apartment, all that kind of stuff. And I have and he would go, and literally going to the grocery store with him, it was a full tour of the grocery store. Like, he would go up and down every single aisle. And what do you think about this, Jay? What do you think about that? I mean, and it would take forever. And of course, I was always like clicking my watch and everything else, looking at my watch. And I realized later on that that he was just doing it because he wanted to spend time with me, a longer time with me. And that was really sweet to think about that. I was thinking, well, he seemed to just he had me for a little bit and shopping, so he figured he would take a really long time shopping just to spend more time with me. So that was sweet. Far cry from people going. He was the opposite. He would be really super slow in the aisle, but we had our time together, and that was nice. All right, back to the Krabby Appletons in the Democrat Party. You guys remember Krabby Appleton? My mom used to call me that. Krabby Appleton was, I think, from Underdog or something, because it was Krabby Appleton, or there was a cartoon called Krabby Appleton, and apparently it was just a crabby person, crabby figure. I can't remember, and there's also a band, by the way. What an awesome name for a band called Krabby Appleton. So if you ever want to look that up, you can find it. Anyway, these people on the left have no sense of humor. Like, there's no levity. I mean, they take everything so seriously, and if they're not taking it seriously, they're turning it into an ultra negative experience. Like the USA hockey team appearing at the State of the Union address, just as I figured they would, with their jerseys on and their gold medals, and it shouldn't be really a complicated type of affair. It shouldn't be a triggering event, but my goodness.
No one is against USA and our athletes and our Olympic athletes. They should not be being used as political props, though, and frankly allow themselves to be used as political props. And I think that is going to be the question and the discussion going forward. It is very clear why the president did this. What is unclear to me is why the men's hockey team allowed themselves to be utilized in this particular fashion.
Yeah. That's somebody named Simone Sanders. I have no idea. She sounds like a Jasmine Crockett knockoff. But if you can imagine, like, for instance, it was literally, what is it, like 2 days after the victory of the hockey team, like 72 hours after they won the gold medal at the Olympics. So that might be actually one little part of the reason why they were there, dear. And not only that, it was an amazing thing. 46 years to the day of the Miracle on Ice. And so we won in 46 years. I mean, it's pretty darn amazing. So the idea that she somehow could over-intellectualize this, and on top of that, blame the players for showing up. I mean, there's a person who definitely needs to calm down. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah, Phil Powers, Simon Bar Sinister, man. I remember from Underdog. I'm going to turn you into a picture. Remember that? And that was what Simon Bar Sinister would do. That was his like big thing of being able to punish people. He'd turn them into a picture. He'd put them in a machine and flatten them out. No, don't turn me into a... And that's what he did. He was like, it's like so evil. I mean, at least he wasn't threatening to like chop them into 50 different pieces. It's Common Sense Radio.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
I listen to News Talk STL on the app driving to work.
Download the News Talk STL app.
You got to get the News Talk STL app.
Love the app. Can listen anywhere in St. Louis.
And listen anytime.
News Talk STL right on my phone.
Anywhere.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Gemini Wealth Group, the GeminiWealthGroup.com. This is I'm going to call them a legion as opposed to a team, because it's like having a legion of amazing heroes who combined experience more than 100 years in investiture, in wealth management, in retirement management, everything else. And the Gemini Wealth Group is going to take you under their wing, and they're going to make you love your golden years and not have to search the folds of your couch for extra money, whatever. This is how it goes. And they're going to give you a permission slip to go ahead, untether yourself from that paycheck you like, right? And go ahead and rely on them to take the fortune you already have, the 401k, all that kind of stuff, all your retirement portfolio you have, and make sure it is powered up, gassed up, ready to go for the next 20, 30, even 40 years into your retirement. And so what happens is they diversify the investments. Diversification is really an important thing, not just for diversification's sake. They diversify it by making sure that they are pinpointing great investment goals, and they're good at this, and they have a special proprietary kind of way of taking care of your money and investing it to the point where maybe all you do is live off the dividends of that investment. So it's really very cool. And of course, they do the long-term planning that you need as well. The long-term planning that would include planning for your health costs, your housing costs, all those kinds of things that are very, very important to you. You don't want to be stuck 30 years into retirement saying, oh, I wish I would have thought about that one. No, they think about it for you at the Gemini Wealth Group. Proud supporters of free, common sense, conservative radio. The GeminiWealthGroup.com, the GeminiWealthGroup.com.
There's only one place you can get pizza cooked over coals. Napoli Brothers Pizza and Pasta in Chesterfield Valley. Of course, Napoli Brothers has a great selection of pasta dishes. Between the pizza and pasta, trust me, you will not leave hungry. Then, a few doors down, Lit Cigar Lounge, a wide variety of quality cigars, each offering a unique smoke. That cigar, some premium whiskey, all you need to do is enjoy. Lit Cigar Lounge and Napoli Brothers Pizza and Pasta, Chesterfield Valley.
Does your market have fresh-cut steaks, 8 varieties of brats and smoked meats, a large selection of Italian-influence products, baked pies, breads, and desserts? Well, Valenti's Market in St. Peter's does, serving the community since 1937. Valenti's Market offers catering services from box lunches to large corporate events and weddings. Stop by the deli counter for deli meats, sandwiches, and salads. Visit valentismarket.com to order online. Valenti's Market, another awesome, locally owned business supported by CUNA Food Service.
On the next Larry Connors USA.
The story behind the story, the blizzard that stranded hundreds of travelers on Texas highways.
Larry Connors USA. Now weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's Common Sense Radio. So we've conducted our multi-level investigation into Krabby Appleton. Ashlyn looked it up on the proprietary file cabinet known as the Internet and found out that, I was reminded of this, Krabby Appleton was part of the Captain Kangaroo show. And was apparently, according to Ashley, the arch nemesis of Tom Terrific. Now I remember. Because when I was a kid, I remember watching the... I love Captain Kangaroo. Mr. Green Jeans. And they had the dancing bear, though. The dancing bear was weird to me because it didn't seem like it had a mouth. It was really weird. I never really understood that. It's kind of like among the many things I didn't understand, like why is Porky Pig not wearing any pants? Like, why does he just have a shirt on? Like, what's that all about? Those are the kinds of things I thought about when I was 7. Hey, Porky Pig's not wearing any pants. And it's like, you know, all the Looney Tune people are like, no kidding, shut up, kid, you know? By the way, the other thing that was really, really sad about this was this poor mom, Anna Zarutska, the mother of Irina Zarutska. Remember the one who was stabbed to death on that train? It's so bad. And the Democrat Party couldn't even stand for her. And there's one guy they isolated on the interwebs, and he's wearing a Ukrainian flag pin. And she obviously was Ukrainian, or Ukrainian immigrant. But he's wearing a Ukrainian flag pin and still sat instead of stood to honor the mom of this Ukrainian girl who was so viciously stabbed to death. Can you believe that? It was a great catch on somebody because they were looking at it and the guy's wearing a Ukrainian flag pin and still sitting on his butt. So that's how mercenary some of these people are. They'll claim to be humanitarian, whatever, and for whatever reason they're supporting Ukraine. I still don't have any idea. But how do you support Ukraine? And then when a Ukrainian girl is stabbed to death in the United States, you don't stand up at the State of the Union address. So anyway, nice job, Democrats. You really pulled off a real doozy last night. It's just so crazy. And again, I love to talk about the positive parts of the speech, but I still can't take my eyes off of this spectacle. It's kind of like seeing Stephen Hawking with 2 girls in a bikini in the Epstein files. I'm like going, I can't stop looking at that, but I don't want to look at that. So it's kind of like, wow, you guys are... Anyway, good job, Democrat Party. Good luck with all that. You guys have a great rest of your day and a blessed one, too. Ashlyn, thank you so much. Coming up next, we've got Tony Colombo and Colombo and Company on the amazing News Talk STL.
Craving the best donuts in town? Master Donuts is your destination for everything delicious. From flaky croissants and kolaches to mouth-watering maple bacon rounds and long johns, apple fritters, cinnamon rolls, donut holes, and a wide variety of specialty donuts that'll make your taste buds dance. We've got something for everyone. Stop by one of our 2 area locations or find us on Facebook. Remember, dough